Hey everyone and welcome. Today we're going to tackle one of the most important but kind of tricky parts of English grammar, auxiliary verbs. And I promise, by the end of this, you'll see them not as a headache, but as the real heroes of your sentences. So, let's dive right in.
You know that feeling, right? You've got your person, you've got your action, but the sentence just feels a little off. It feels incomplete, like a car with no wheels. It's super frustrating, and I think we've all been there. But the good news is, there's a really simple fix.
Okay, so check this out. She sleeping. We get the idea. We know who and we know what, but it just doesn't sound right, does it? It's not a complete thought, and this is exactly the kind of thing we're going to fix today.
All right, section 1. Look, I get it. The term auxiliary verb just sounds complicated, right? Like a total grammar headache. But trust me, the solution to our she sleeping problem is way simpler than you think.
So, let's meet the heroes of our story, the auxiliary verbs. You might also know them as helping verbs, and they are literally the missing piece of the puzzle that we need to make our sentences work perfectly.
Okay, this is the big idea that's going to make everything make sense. Just think of the main verb in a sentence, words like eat, walk, or sleep, as the manager. They're in charge of the main action. The auxiliary verb, then, is their superstar secretary, who comes in to handle all the important nitty-gritty details.
And boom, just like that. Look at it now. By adding that little secretary is, our sentence is suddenly perfect. She is sleeping. That one little word gives our manager sleeping all the support it needs to make total sense. It's such a tiny change, but wow, what a difference it makes.
So, what exactly are these important jobs the secretary is doing? Well, they've got 4 main gigs. They show the time of the action or tense, they help us ask questions, they help us make negative statements, and they add all these cool special meanings like ability or possibility. I mean, they're basically the ultimate multitasking assistants for our sentences. Okay, so here's where it gets interesting. These little heroes don't all do the same thing. They're actually split into 2 main teams, and each team has its own special set of skills. Let's go meet them.
And this right here, this is probably the biggest difference you need to know between the two. On one side, you have the primary verbs, be, do, and have. Think of these as the super flexible employees. They can be the manager or the secretary. They can do both jobs. But the modal verbs? Nope, they are pure specialists. They can only ever be a secretary. They always need a manager to help.
All right, let's kick things off with the primary team. You can think of these guys as the all-rounders, the utility players of the grammar world who can do a bit of everything to get the job done.
So, within this team, each verb has its own kind of special job. You've got be, which is all about what's happening right now or when something is being done to the subject. Then there's do. Do is like the superhero that swoops in to help you ask questions or say no when there's no other helper around. And have, that's your guy for talking about things that are completely finished, connecting the past to right now.
And this is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. In she is sleeping, that little word is tells us the action is happening now. It's continuous. But in the cake was eaten, was tells us the cake was the one receiving the action. See how one little word does so much work? It's pretty amazing, right?
Okay, now let's look at do. In a simple sentence like, you like coffee, there's no helper verb just hanging around. So what do you do if you want to ask a question? Bam! Do comes to the rescue. It's the default helper that jumps in to make it happen.
And to round out the team, we have. When you say, I have finished my homework, it's not just that you finished it in the past, it means the homework is done now. It connects that past action to the present moment, showing its current relevance.
Okay, time to meet our second team, the modals. Now remember, these guys aren't the all-rounders. Oh no, they are the specialists. Each one adds a very specific flavor or meaning to the main verb, and they are super powerful.
So let's run through the lineup. Can is all about ability, what you're able to do. Will is for the future, obviously. Should is for giving advice. Must shows that something is necessary, and may expresses a possibility. See what's happening? They're not changing the action itself, they're changing the entire vibe of the sentence.
Okay, listen up, because this is the absolute golden rule. If you remember one thing about modals, make it this. The verb that comes right after a modal verb is always, and I mean always, in its original base form. No S, no ED, no ING, nothing. It's that simple. Just keep the verb pure.
Whew, okay, we've gone through a lot. So let's wrap things up with a few pro tips and a quick recap to make sure all of this really sticks.
You know, one of the absolute best ways to get better at anything
is to look at the common mistakes people make. So let's tackle a few of these head-on so you can just sidestep them completely in your own speaking and writing.
All right, let's look at this table. First up, she can goes. Oof, we know that's wrong, right? Why? Because of our golden rule for modals. After can, it has to be go. Then we have he don't like it. This is a super common one. Remember, do has to agree with the subject, so for he, she, or it becomes doesn't. And finally, I am agreed. This is a classic. It's like you've got two managers trying to do one job. Agree is already a strong main verb. It doesn't need help from am here.
Okay, so to wrap it all up, here are your key takeaways. First, always remember that manager and secretary analogy. It just works. Second, know your two teams, the all-rounder primaries and the specialist modals. And third, please never forget that golden rule. After a modal verb, you always use the pure original verb. No extra letters.
So there you have it. You've basically got the keys to the kingdom now for building stronger, clearer sentences in English. You've met the unsung heroes that make it all happen. The only question now is, what's the first sentence you're going to build with them?